Hi there, we are going to be taking a look at our first step for graphing quadratic equations. We're going to be finding the axis of symmetry and the vertex. So remember, the axis of symmetry is a line that reflects our parabola on both sides, and then the vertex is either the highest point or the lowest point on our parabola. So if we have this equation here, we want to start off by using a special formula that we're going to be using for every single one of these problems. So this is very important. You should write this down, put it in a box, put stars around it, something, so you can remember that this is what you use. The formula that we have is x equals negative b divided by 2 times a. Get a marker that works. Well, you may be looking at this and wondering, where do we get a and b from? Well, we get a and b from the equation that we have. A is our coefficient for x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is our constant. There we go. Words, they're important. So, even though c isn't in this equation, we're going to go ahead and label all three of these. So, a, b, c. And let's go ahead and write them on the side here as well. So since there's no number in front of x squared, a is going to be equal to 1. B will be positive 4, and c will be negative 5. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my equation here. So I replaced b with 4, the negatives on the outside of the parentheses, and I replaced a with 1. So I put the 1 on the inside of the parentheses here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and simplify. So I'm going to have negative 4 over 2 times 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So I'm going to have negative 4 divided by 2. And that's equal to negative 2. So we're not just going to write negative 2, because for a line we have to have a variable as well. So for our axis of symmetry, we're going to say x equals negative 2. So we found our axis of symmetry. Our axis of symmetry is x equals negative 2. We're going to use this information to help us find our vertex. In fact, the negative 2 is going to be part of our vertex. It's going to be the x value. All we have to do now is find our y value. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this negative 2 and we're going to plug it into our equation up here. So I'm going to replace both of my x's, the one with the 4 and the one with the x squared, with negative 2. Ran out of room right there. So now I have y equals negative 2 squared plus 4 times negative 2 minus 5. Make sure you have your parentheses around your negative 2. This will make a difference when you're working this in your calculator. And speaking of calculators, honestly, you can put this whole thing in your calculator in one step. You can go ahead and do that if you'd like, but I'm going to show you the steps as they're worked out. So negative 2 squared, that's negative 2 times negative 2. That'll give me a positive 4. 4 times negative 2, that's going to be negative 8, so I'm going to write minus 8. And then we still have our minus 5. Okay? So 4 minus 8 would give me negative 4, and negative 4 minus 5 is going to give me negative 9. So now that I have this, this is going to be the second part of my vertex. We're going to have parentheses down here with a comma, and in our first spot, our x value, is going to be negative 2. It's what we found for our axis of symmetry. Our second spot is what we just found here with our y value. So we have the two things we're looking for here. We have our axis of symmetry, x equals negative 2, and then we have our vertex, the point negative 2, negative 9.